To the Game by Show podcast. It is May the 2nd. That's the day after May Day.
May the 2nd be with you.
It's May 2nd, 2022. This is the Game by Show. My name is LeGrand Jolly. I'm joined, as always, by Jeremy, Dale, and Jared. Hello, fellers.
Hello. Hello.
All right. How are things? Okay?
They're thinging along. It's being rather thingy so far.
If they weren't things, would they even be things?
It's a Monday.
Maybe not.
It's a Monday things.
Just Monday things.
We specifically picked. We changed the show to record on Mondays specifically so we would not have to deal with Garfield. We just I can't take it anymore. That dude complaining about Mondays.
Richard
Garfield hates Mondays, but he likes that we record the show on Mondays. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I meant actually President James Garfield.
Yes.
Who was
he's the one who instituted the Monday.
That's why he was assassinated.
No podcast tax.
Yeah. Interestingly, he historically was one of the U.S. presidents to be assassinated. So
on a Monday.
On a Monday. He hates it.
Bringing it back
Garfield.
around.
A cat.
So, welcome to the show, everybody. We're done talking about Garfield. But I do have some things to say about some video games. We're going to get this started really quick, nice and easy.
Sure.
I just rattled off a bunch of things to my fellow co-podcasters here about what I have been playing. Yeah, I beat Samus Returns. That game was awesome.
Wait,
I fired up Final Fantasy 6.1. The patch 6.1 content came out this last week. I played through all of that. That was awesome. And I played Guild Wars 2 today.
Nice.
Have you seen your family in the last week? Do they know you're there in the basement?
I only game at night when nobody's around and nobody's awake, right?
I subsist on a diet of only finding one game a week to play for this show right now. Like, I'm not doing anything for fun. I'm doing it because I'm like, all right, I got to do something for Monday. I hate Mondays.
And you know what me and Jared do? We just say, we're just playing the same thing and we're not even sorry about it. And it's okay. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Jeremy's really, he's going all in.
I picked some good fun stuff. I'm excited to talk about it. But I want to please tell me more about 20 levels of Guild Wars 2.
It was great.
Yeah,
it was great.
That's awesome.
I'm trying to play that game and focus on the story this time which I don't know when it's supposed to pick up.
Story-filled game.
Are you playing the very beginning?
How many rats do they want you to?
Yes, I started at the very beginning. I played through Queensdale for like the 20th time.
Did you do that Apple Spider quest?
I did. Yes, I did actually.
The good news is the story gets consistently better, like with each phase, because it starts off kind of weak.
You find you really find the layers in the nuance of the story as you.
They don't really have a lot of story in the first 20 levels. Like there's like a handful of story quests and they weren't very good. Yeah. I think they were the ones that kind of were setting up your character. But anyway, Guild Wars 2 is awesome. I'm probably going to keep poking around with it. I enjoyed my time with it. And I have a buddy who is going to pick it up again. Yeah, he surprisingly couldn't get into Final Fantasy and was bored of Final Fantasy 14. So then he fired up Guild Wars and was like, wow, this is great.
What?
Yeah. So they're great for different reasons.
There's no accounting for taste.
They're great for different reasons. So outside of that, I'm still on my 3DS Renaissance. I've been playing through the Phoenix Wright games. They're on sale right now. I bought all of them for $25 or something.
Oh, that's not bad.
We're talking
all of them? Like going all the way up to...
All of them. All of them.
Wow.
So there's 6. There are 6 of them. 3 on the GBA that were like... No, they were ported to the DS from the GBA in Japan, I guess, is what the story is.
I played 1 or 2 of those.
Yeah. So there's those 3. Then there's 1 on the DS and 2 on the 3DS. So there are 6 Phoenix Wright games, and I have them all.
Is that counting the one where it was like Apollo Justice also?
Yeah, that's.
There was also the one where it was Miles Edgeworth, where you play as the prosecuting attorney, right?
Oh, you do? When do you do that?
I thought so. Miles Edgeworth, attorney, something bad guy.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think that sounds familiar.
You know what? They could totally reinvent that series now, but like as a Better Call Saul like spinoff, and it would sell like a million zillion copies. And then you could even have it written by what's the guy's name? I'm forgetting now. Not David Cross.
Vince Gilligan.
No, the actor.
David Odenkirk or Bob Odenkirk.
Oh yeah.
He could even write the jokes.
It's David Cross is the other guy I was thinking of.
Yeah.
He'd make a good video game, right?
Probably.
Yeah, right? I mean,
sure. I mean, why not?
You know what? Where is my Kids in the Hall? I want my Kids in the Hall Telltale adaptation. That's what I want.
No, that's a good goal. I want my The State.
The State. Actually, you know what? Legitimately a good idea. Reno 911, Telltale.
Reno 911, but it's GTA. But it's Reno 911.
But it's
it's in Reno, like 5 streets, 6 traffic lights.
That'd be good.
I hate Reno. That place sucks, man.
Really? But have you ever watched Reno 911 though? It's really good.
Yeah. And it makes sense. Like that place is
Lieutenant Jim Dangle.
That's pretty lame. Anyway, to bring it back around, Phoenix Wright would be someone who is needed in a place like Reno. Just a little bit sleazier, Phoenix Wright. And it's a pretty good game. It's fine. I have nothing to say about it. Like, it's Phoenix Wright. I might have more if I
have one thing to say about it. Do you guys have like any of your like all-time best internet or most memorable internet articles that you ever read? Like, do you have anything that just like sticks in your mind?
Like power.net.
Well, yeah, I mean stuff like that. But I'm not talking about. So I read one time the sort of the background to the Turnabout Lawyer. What is it? Gyotuken Saiban? Gyotuken Saiban, which is that in Japan specifically, maybe we've talked about this on the show before, but I read an article that actually just kind of broke this down, that there is culturally a touchstone for Phoenix Wright, because historically, I guess in Japan, defense lawyers are just like always, it's like night court or something. Like the defense lawyer is always like the worst, gets the worst cases. Like just historically, if you are in court and you're a defendant, you're just screwed. Like and so this game is sort of based on that idea. And this article that I read, and I've tried to find it on the internet again since then, but I found it just fascinating that this was like this sort of not homage, but almost like a parody of this cultural thing in Japan about defense lawyers. And
they say it's like criminal cases have like a 99.5
something stupid. It's like totally stupid.
Oh, really?
And so the idea is that you as Phoenix Wright are like the one guy holding it up, for, you're the point one.
That's funny.
Anyway,
that's it. Phoenix Wright's fine. There's not a way to lose Phoenix Wright. There's only a way to
like those are like some iconic.
Hold it.
Yeah. Wait just a moment.
It puts his hand on the table. It's all gets all into it.
I kind of want for $25. Was it on the 3DS store? How much?
3DS. I'm playing on 3DS. Well, I mean if you download it from the eShop, that's like I think the newest one is still $30 on the
closing
eShop.
Down the 3DS eShop?
Yeah,
closing it down next March.
But I think they are preventing you from adding funds to it way before then. So
I thought that they were stopping you from adding. Yeah.
Well, anyway, the time is short. Time draws nigh.
Yes.
So here's your recommendation.
Also Wii U games, but don't bother. I think Wii U is closing down too, right? Is that also true?
Yeah, together at the same time. Yeah,
that's crazy.
They finally realized that 10 years ago that they were like, oh, wait, we still are doing the Wii U shop. We somebody better stop this now.
Here's something weird for you
that nobody turned off.
Yeah.
You know that Metal Gear Solid 3DS game?
Wasn't it like the Twin Snakes-ish?
No, it was Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah, they did
on the 3DS.
I remember that.
Oh yeah,
Jeremy, you were gonna play that.
I'm still playing through it.
Do you still have? You have it?
Not the 3DS one, but I think loaded onto my Vita. I think I'm like 10 years on into my Metal Gear Solid 3 playthrough.
10 years gone is a really good Led Zeppelin song.
10 years gone. Yeah. 10 years gone into my Metal Gear Solid.
The game got delisted from the eShop like last November because they couldn't renew their license to the new. Remember this article? I think we talked about this. They have all that real wartime footage.
Oh yeah.
And it was copyrighted, and so they had to delist Metal Gear Solid 3 because they couldn't get license for it or something.
I don't have that one, but I think it came out on a physical release. But I bet it's expensive now.
The cart's like $300 if you want to get it, and it's
You're
not
paying
on the
for the
eShop
rights
anymore.
yourself.
It's one of those. I wish I would have bought that game when I could have bought that game.
Could have. Yep.
Yeah. I'm realizing a lot of that with retro video games that I've been kind of dabbling and kind of playing around and tracking things and looking at stuff I want.
That's how they get you.
The flip side, though, is that there's a lot of stuff that I did get that I'm not playing, and like I probably won't. So you can't really win either way.
Jeremy, I think I might be playing a game this week that, for some reason, I want to say you probably have the vinyl soundtrack to this.
It's possible.
If it exists, he might.
Possible.
Yeah.
It's a racing game called Horizon Chase Turbo.
Yes, I do have this. In fact, there are two versions of this on vinyl. The one that I have, so this is very interesting. So normally records come in these big 12-inch, LPs. But there are others, there's like the little 7 inches and stuff like that. But the release for Horizon Chase Turbo came on 5 like 3-inch little discs. They look like literally coasters. Yeah, and they're actually doing another version that's on 2 full-size LPs, but these things are like these clear little pucks. And I actually have never put them on my player. I have no idea what they sound like.
Wow.
I don't know. Here, I tell you what. Let me just like run and go get it real quick, and you keep talking.
RPM or something?
Yeah, you keep talking. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, see, what happened was, I saw a tweet that somebody put on the Twitter, where it was like a little toy, like Hot Wheels car next to like a little toy, like palm tree. And I was like, that makes me want to play Outrun, right? But then at the same time, rather than actually wanting to play Outrun, because I'd been listening to some other podcast about something or other, and they were talking about how like, a lot of times you don't want to actually go back and like play the actual game thing that you remember from 30 years ago, but like you just want to find like a spiritual successor that has modern usability, functional stuff, and like, modern graphics and things. And so, inspired by those two things, I was like, well, what do I have in my libraries across, like Epic, Steam, and whatever else that sort of like approximates Outrun, but is a modern game? And wouldn't you know it, one of the free games that they gave away on the Epic Game Store at some point is this Horizon Chase Turbo. And so, I downloaded it. It's a very small download. It's like 1.3 gigabytes or whatever, small for a video game these days. But it is exactly what I just outlined. It's like a modern day Outrun successor, spiritual successor sort of thing, with crazy good music, actually, which is one of the reasons that I brought up the music thing to Jeremy, who's like apparently digging through his library now or something.
He's looking for vinyl.
Yeah, but the music is really, really good. It's got that like kind of, just picture Outrun in your head, and like whatever kind of music your brain procedurally generates, that's basically what it is, right? You know what you're getting into, but it looks like Outrun. It's got like that kind of like flat looking world to it, even though it is all like polygonal, and it
looks just like a up-res Outrun with a little bit more detail in the background.
Would you say that's like, what is that, like flat shaded or like garage shaded or whatever?
I wouldn't say it's like cell shaded, but yeah, it's more
normal map or something. It's like,
something like that.
There's not really any textures on anything. It's just like polygonal with solid colors, but it runs at like 1 billion frames a second. There's like, absolutely no slowdown anywhere. And you begin a race, and there's like 20 other guys on the track, and you're going around these like improbably shaped racing tracks, like sometimes it's just like a square, other times it's like a spaghetti noodles, track. And you fly around you can complete the entire race in like 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes maximum, right? And it's simple and fun. It's very arcadey, but you know what it does have is like kind of an interesting thing I've never seen in a racing game. You can run out of gas, and you have to collect gas canisters that are on
that's
the
like
track.
An arcade trope, though.
Yeah, that's like some Spy Hunter.
Yeah, it is.
They want to keep
like
you
that.
plugging in quarters,
You collect gas. There's like things to collect as you're driving around the track, right? So gas cans is one thing. You can also get like a boost. I think every race has like one boost that you can collect. You start with, I think, 3 boosts, and if you get the other one, you can have a total of 4 throughout the race. And then there are these other, I think they're just called tokens. They look like a little checkered flag, blue coin sort of thing that hovers above the track until you collect it. And then as you go, whatever place you finish in the race, if it's, you know, in the top 3, you get a little trophy. Even if it's not in the top 3, you get credits for the amount of gas that you had left over, the amount of tokens that you collected, and I don't know, something else maybe.
So what was it that made you think that the music was like released physically? Like, why did you think that? Because it's true. Actually, here's the thing. I can't actually find it. All I could find, this thing isn't working. All I could find was these cassette tapes.
Jeremy, because the music is really good, and it's very retro, and in fact, it seems like we have even talked about this game at one point in the past, and maybe you mentioned that you had the soundtrack for it or something like that.
I've never heard of this game.
You have a 50-50 shot
with Horizon spinoff.
Oh yeah.
But it's cool. I don't know if you heard what I was saying about the game, Jeremy, but it's very much a spiritual successor to the Outrun sort of thing, but with some, you know, modern progression sort of mechanics. It's got like it's got a couple of campaign modes where you travel around the world doing, you know, you do some tracks in LA, you do some tracks in San Francisco, and then you do some tracks in like Chile, and then some in like Brazil, and some.
Do you do any in Daytona?
No, there's not any in Daytona.
No?
They have India, Japan, China, Australia, Hawaii. Where else do they have?
Wow.
I want to
say Minnesota.
Somewhere.
Minnesota. Reno, Nevada.
Europe. I don't. They have them all around. And it's a really solid and it's a really fun game. I've played a few hours of it. My 7-year-old wanted to play it. She saw me playing it and wanted to check it out, and she sat down and played it for 45 minutes the other day.
I wonder if I have access to this somewhere.
Wow. I have it on Epic.
It was free on Epic, so you might have it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd recommend checking it out if you want to do that thing where it's like you want to play a nostalgic game, but you don't want to play the old game. You want to play a newer version of it.
A new nostalgic game.
With, you know, modern sensibilities.
Well, I will endeavor. So right now all I can find is these lame cassettes, but I will find, and I'll post in the Discord some photos of these tiny little records, and I'll put next to it a couple different sizes of records for comparison, because they're just like these weird little things.
You got the soundtrack both on mini vinyl and on cassette?
Yeah, because I figured it was my one chance, because I had to order them from Europe and it's kind of expensive. So just to make it more worth it, I just got to. This is how my mind works. I'm like, well, if I not really, but I do have a whole stack of tapes. Maybe I'll share that. I'm all for outing myself on shame. Like, I'll just let you guys see all my cassettes.
Hey, the soundtrack is on Spotify for those who care to listen. I'm gonna listen to it tomorrow.
Listen to it.
I will. Yeah. I will put on my 3 mini.
And it's a fun game too. You know what? It's not super easy. It's I think the game is tuned so that you have to play through the tracks multiple times to get credits and then upgrade your cars. And then once you start tuning your cars, then I think you're able to sort of compete and get the first place trophy. You know? So
sometimes that can be really satisfying, and sometimes it can be really annoying.
Yeah, it's not Gran Turismo by any stretch, but it's also not exactly, you know, Outrun or San Francisco Rush or anything like that. It's kind of like splitting a difference to some degree.
Cool. Well, speaking of old classics, Jared.
Oh, man, let's talk about Ultima Online, y'all. Actually, today was exhausting. We had a series of events that were kind of spontaneous. So one of our members had like a vision, and there was like a flame pillar that was like talking to him, and then zombies invaded, and then we had to fight off an orc invasion. It was hectic.
And so this sort of thing, these scripted non sort of game native event. I mean, this is something that somebody put together. Right?
This is someone on the staff putting together story and creating things just kind of dynamically as players kind of play through. It was really cool.
That is cool.
We had people coming in from all over our alliance to defend the castle and stuff. It was really good. It was a good time. But yeah, so I've been playing a heck of a lot of that and just having a pretty good time with it. The other thing I played quite a bit of past few days, since it released on the 26th to version 1.0 out of early access, is King Arthur Knight's Tale.
Oh yeah.
This just came out?
Yeah.
It just barely came out?
Just came out last week.
Oh, you were playing early access before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that game's hard. So, the what I was playing in early access.
Is there different difficulties available?
Or do you have to play, I think I'm on like the normal, the middle.
And it's still hard?
Yeah, and so it has a really neat system. So it's a little bit XCOM, a little bit Darkest Dungeon. I think we've talked about it before, but it's like
you talked about it.
It's like tactical, and your characters can have armor, and then they have 2 health pools. So there's like a, like the first health pool as it drains will start to make the kind of the second one more susceptible to taking damage. And as you take damage in that last health pool, you can start taking like critical hits kind of thing, right? And like one of my characters like broke a leg or something, and so like his movement was significantly reduced, and like he could no longer do attacks of opportunity and things like that, right? Like really significant penalties. And then hopefully you make it out alive, because if these characters die, they're dead, they're gone. You can go back to Camelot and send them to the like the hospital, right? The hospice, and hopefully tend their wounds and get them
where
healed
they have to
up.
push the pram a lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a very silly place. But what's interesting is, to start off, you only have one like room at the hospice, and right now I've got like 3 really banged up knights, so kind of having to make some decisions on who's going to get healed. It's merely
a flesh wound.
Who will just permanently have a broken leg.
Knock it off, Jeremy.
It's so quotable.
What are you going to do? Nibble his bum?
Yeah.
I'll bite your knees off. But yeah, so that game, I can really see it really seems like the difficulty is ramping up, which just makes it all that much more engaging, right? As you really have to kind of dig in, and the quests and like missions are just really kind of interesting. Like one was just a side mission I went on, and you find this knight or whatever, and he's stuck in a dream. He's the one dreaming, and like it keeps happening over and over. So it's just really curious, some of the scenarios they kind of put together. And it's all just very dark fantasy. And
so is it significantly different since it came? I mean, look, what was the 1.0 like? What's new?
I think a lot of missions and stuff came out, and a lot of polish. So previously, when I was playing, it was just kind of like the
you just were playing it just a few months ago, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it hasn't been that long.
It was like a month before release, and it seemed like I was like, oh man, there's not a lot of missions and stuff. And now, once I've kind of gotten into it in about the same amount of playtime, there's just a ton more to do, and I'm like, oh, okay, there it is. And so that's what I'm doing, are these side missions, which is good because you like get more resources and things that you need to level up, but it's also bad because all my knights have like broken legs. So
they put them on the cart.
Hopefully the next mission they can just all ride around on their horses or something, right? But yeah, so it's just interesting. It seems it's almost like FTL in that balance in a way, right? Like not that it has any kind of gameplay loop like FTLs, but you always kind of had to make decisions on, okay, if I go through a area too fast, I won't be strong enough in the next area. But if I take too long, I'm gonna use up all my fuel or all my supplies.
Right.
So
all my legs.
Yeah, all my knights
get broken.
It's just rude. Yeah, and it has weird consequences. Like all my knights were broke legged, and so I took out all my like squishier characters because I'm like, wow, this is all I have left.
That's the history of England that they don't tell you about.
Yeah,
like everybody walk
around with their broken legs, and those guys have no armor, so they're just like instantly taking these big hits. And I was like, but it is interesting. So yeah, just I'm just keeping with the night theme. Huzzah!
Nice. Well, I'll keep with the early access theme because I played something brand new this week out in early access, something that we in the Discord server have been looking forward to. I've played the early access version of Dune Spice Wars, which is a combination sort of 4X/RTS version of, I guess, Dune, Arrakis, Desert Planet Conquest. This game sort of reminds me in pacing a little bit like the original Dune 2. And what I mean by that is that everything is based on not running around on the sand too much, finding little regions. So the game is made by the people who did not North, is it Northgard? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, Northgard. And so they kind of have used a similar idea where any given scenario that you play, and you can restart over and over again, and it's all kind of procedurally generated. So you're never, at least in this early access version, you're never playing the same broader map. But that map is an RTS map, great big, and it's divided into regions. So just different little, kind of like the map on Dune 2, the original, when you would choose an area that you wanted to go and fight over, kind of like that, except real time. And within any given region, so you start out with your hub area, and there are 4 factions. You can be the Atreides, the Harkonnen, the Fremen, or smugglers, which is, I guess it's fine. And
oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, I know. And so each faction has advisors and has its own natural bonuses, and there's a little bit of math involved. Like, one of them will say when you well, so for example, in these regions, there are going to be little areas that you can find. So you can discover the region because it's got this sort of sandstorm fog of war. And as you move a unit into it, it will reveal what's inside there. And usually inside one of those areas, almost always, there's a point of interest. There are little question marks in there. So you move a unit, and it's typically an ornithopter. So in this game, which is different from, I think, any other Dune game that I've played, ornithopters are your scout units, and they can fly around, and they actually are the ones that will do the scouting, basically. So you send them off, and you can tell them to auto scout or whatever, and they'll just kind of fly around and uncover these areas. And then within these areas, they'll find these question mark icons, and when you uncover them, you may find natural resources, and some of those could be spice fields. It could be geothermal areas, because that's going to be a resource. It could be, there could be a number of little things like that. Each region also has a wind factor, and the higher the wind factor, the more you can build wind traps, and that produces moisture, which is a resource that you can, it's kind of a limiting factor. It's a catalyst for how many units you can build inside your army. But when you find these question marks, it might be a village or a town or something like that inside there. And they start out as neutral, and they have a garrison. So back to your stat bonuses for your factions or for your advisors, some of them will be like, well, you can more easily and quickly convert a town to be your vassal or whatever. Or one of them might be that you can suppress uprisings better or whatever. So the way that it comes in a combination of RTS and 4X is that you'll find these towns, and they are little independent producers of buildings and resources, and potentially garrison units and things like that. So it's not like an RTS where you have one central build area, but your central build area is where you produce your soldiers only. There may be other areas. And there are also things like research trees, which is not traditionally something that you'll get in an RTS game. Really a good analogy.
Yeah, the mechanics are very different.
Yeah. Usually it's like build a building, build a new unit, upgrade that building, build another kind of building or something like that. I mean,
so this sort of like a 4X game, but in real time.
Yeah. So it plays actually a lot like Sins of a Solar Empire, where you could be scouting, you could be researching. There's a heavy diplomacy factor to this. So once you come into contact with the other factions, you can open negotiations for trade or for any number of other little things that you can do. And then on top of that, there are kind of pseudo-political, you can actually work with agents, like secret agents of your empire, your house. And what you can do is you will generate a new agent under some period of time, and I'm sure that that's something also that factions will have bonuses. And then you can assign those agents to do different things. Like you can assign them to Arrakis, where if you've got one assigned there, you can, some of the question marks that you discover with your ornithopters might take an agent there to actually do something with them. This also uses a quest system, kind of like the Endless games do. So
I was just going to say, it does sound kind of like the Endless.
It does. It actually
is kind of games.
Yeah, it's a cool triangulation of like Endless games and like Civ games and like Sins of Solar Empire, and then it kind of sets it on Arrakis. The units, though, the combat is really kind of simplistic, and that's maybe what makes me think the most of Dune 2, is that your units move really slowly over sand, and there's also an exposure component to it. Yeah, they don't attract the worm. Actually, they will attract a worm. So sandworms. So a couple of things. So of course you have your harvesters. If you take control of a town that's in one of these zones and it has a spice field in it, then you can build a spice factory and then you can send out harvesters. There's also a manpower component, which is kind of like Endless. Endless does have like a manpower resource, something like that. And you can assign those to harvesters to make them gather stuff faster. And then if a worm comes, you can either set it to auto return or you can manual return it. And it'll, all of your main kind of icons are across the top and it'll let you know when there's worm signs somewhere. So you can kind of decide sort of a la the books where they're like, oh, no, we wait until the last possible minute. Or you can actually set it to auto pick up just at the first sign of trouble, which you can do that too. So then, and I'm trying not to just describe all of the mechanics or whatever, but that's kind of the shape of this, like the main the main landscape kind of that you're working with. The other thing that you can do in this too is
was it fun?
Yes, but I will say that the combat is fairly simplistic. Usually you're fielding maybe 4 kinds of units to start with. So you have infantry. I mean, you have your ornithopters, and they're sort of a separate thing. I will say about this, the ornithopters are very well paced. They're faster than any other units, but not so fast that you've got like a whole bunch of uncovered area to deal with. They're usually just slow enough that you can sort of decide where you want them to go and seek things out. But the other units that you have are sort of like regular troops, rangers, which are ranged troops, because everybody else fights with knives. That's a big deal on Arrakis. You don't fight with laser guns or anything like that. You fight with knives. So you have like knife dudes, you have like pellet gun shooters or ranged guys, and then you have like heavy troops, which is kind of like the rocket launch guys, which again, those are sort of like the people that you had in Dune 2, like not very many. You can eventually get things like drones that'll fly kind of slowly and they're ranged as well, but you just don't produce. It's not like StarCraft or something where, you've got like 10 different kinds of things that you're swamping over, there's no Zerg rushes or anything like that. Everything is slow. Also, your pace is reduced in terms of conquest because you can only move your own military guys out to take territory, but the garrisons that are there are pretty tough. So unless you clearly outnumber them, you've got to build up troops to do it. And in the meantime, you're managing the costs for those troops, and everything is on a per seconds kind of basis. So you're either hemorrhaging money, making money, and then in all the meanwhile, the Imperium is going to tax you, and the tax gets heavier and heavier as the game goes on. And if you don't have enough spice to pay them, then you've got to take it out of your salaries. You've got to take it out of your bank, which the conversion rate is not really like favorable. So
that's how they get you.
Yeah, that is how they get you. So I will say, so is it fun? Like, yeah, I think there's a lot to do in this. It's not just, just like building units as fast as you can and sending them. You really do kind of have to be strategic about things. It is slower paced, though. I think that it sort of adopts the methodical pace of an RT of a 4X game, and then kind of has the ongoingness, the real timeness of an RTS game. And at the beginning, you're going to find that the planet is a really formidable adversary, right? Like you can't just march your guys. In this game, there's one thing that's new in this. You can't just march your guys across open territory that you don't control. There's an attrition factor. And they've got like a little bit of like, I don't know what you'd call it. It's not health, but it's like their weatheredness or whatever, like their hardiness. Yeah. And you might be able to get them across one unoccupied tile, but you're not going to get them across 2 because then their health starts draining. Yeah. I mean, that's it. So you can it is. And you can only really like take territory adjacently until, maybe you've upgraded some stuff, or you can maybe take some risks or whatever. There's also, I guess, in addition, and this is one way that you can advance. So they give you a lot of ways that you can advance in the game. The other way is that the Landsraad, which is the sort of governing body of the Imperium, they will have sort of, again, like in Endless or something, or Civ does this, they'll meet periodically and you can vote based on your house prestige for different like legal injunctions or regulations or something. And they could be things like you gain a bunch of free military units, or suddenly your maintenance cost for buildings is heavy. Or maybe you find things where you whatever. There are things that can be negative, and so you want to vote those on other people. Or you can vote good things for you. And part of this, there's this whole kind of political capital spending that you can do as well. So again, there are a lot of ways to do it that are much more sophisticated than a straight up RTS. But again, the pace is really slow and methodical, and you will find yourself, I found myself anyway, failing against Arrakis, just to try and take territory because I was not cognizant of that slow pace. Like they want you to, you can't just go running out there. You've got to really kind of know what you're doing.
I think it's cool that they kind of followed the theme and the IP.
They
could easily be like Homeworld, where it's just whatever. But
they've been very, and it's not like movie based. Like it's not like paper dolls of the actors, Timothy Chalamet or whatever. It's none of that. It's kind of a new interpretation of it. The vehicles look a little different. The music is not. I always kind of like the music for Dune to either be Toto-esque or the original, like Emperor Battle for Dune had people like David Arkenstone did some music for that, and
oh my man,
yeah, and I'm trying to. There were a couple of, and I can't think. Frank Klepacki did it, and he was the Command and Conquer guy. So they had some like really hard, like one of the best video game tracks of all time is from Emperor Battle for Dune, Tribute to Evil. It's just like it's like some really great music, and this does not really have that, which is kind of a bummer. But again, early access, and they may change any or all of this stuff. It will have multiplayer at some point. It does not currently. But that's okay because I'm still really just trying to figure out the basics. But I'm kind of excited to go back and to play more of it and to hopefully, secure my fiefdom on the planet Arrakis and eventually take over the known Imperium with spice-infused jihad. So,
I think you can do it.
I think I can. I believe in myself. I've seen the lines. Yeah. So that's what I'm playing. Dune, Spice Wars.
Cool. I guess we have new releases. I didn't look at these at all, but Bugsnax. It's on the Xbox, Switch, and PC.
I think it's a Game Pass game, right?
Yes, and also the expansion is out, and I believe the expansion is included on Game Pass too.
There's been a lot of people talking about Bugsnax lately.
Kind of bug and kind of snack.
Yeah, it was fine when it came out for the PS5, and it's still fine 2 years later.
Wow. Both fine and fine. So I don't know what happened to our video, but I think it froze.
Oh no, I see that.
Nintendo Switch Sports. I'm guessing this is sort of Wii Sports, but on the Switch.
Spirituals. Yep, exactly.
Self-launch of a new first-party Nintendo game.
Yeah.
Excellent. Dwarf Romantic.
I want to say that this is based on the Tim Conway character Dwarf, where he like kneels into his shoes, and this is a Dwarf. Are you guys not familiar?
No.
Tim Conway. Is it Tim Conway?
It is Tim Conway. I talked about this on the podcast.
This is that little cute town builder thing, right?
It's awesome. It's really good. I have it. I played it quite a bit actually. It's really relaxing and chill and fun. I'm interested to see what they added. I guess for the release. I don't know.
I guess I'm just disappointed that you guys do not know the comedy classic Dwarf.
Nope.
Dwarf. I know Red Dwarf. 2.
I'm guessing. I think that was out on early access, so I'm guessing
it's out for reals now. Yep.
Kudos to whoever put in X-Bone on that. Props to that.
That was me.
All right. Leaked new Destiny guns allegedly.com. Dandy and Randy. The
dual pistols.
Mm-hmm.
Dual pistols,
yep. Absolutely. Ravenous Devils.
Dude, I like this one. It's a dual barrel shotgun.
Yep.
And I'm getting multiple launch missile system sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whisper Trip, which I think is a submachine gun.
Sniper rifle for sure. Yep.
All right,
you'll have to wait and see. They haven't revealed the actual designs yet. So
yep, they'll be coming to a PS7 version of the game soon. Deals and freebies. Rocket League.
Alternatively, Dandy and Randy is also my like Regency era, love letter writing simulator.
Dandy and Randy.
Great SNL skit. Dandy and Randy.
I think it was Dandy and Randy DX, but I took off the DX, so I don't know what that means.
Duel Extreme. Deals and freebies. Rocket League has a cool 8-car battle royale mode. Cool.
Until May 10th.
Yeah, there you go.
It's supposed to be good.
Deals on Japanese games in Golden Week sales. Xbox has some, PSN. The Xbox games with gold.
Really?
Yep.
What about the 3DS? Does it have anything going on?
I don't know. Does it?
Vita might.
I hope so.
Xbox games with gold. Yoku's Island Express available May 1st through the 31st. The Inner World, The Last Wind Monk, May 16th through the June 15th. Hydro Thunder Hurricane, May 1st through the 15th. And Viva Pinata Party Animals available May 16th through the 31st. Ooh.
Very nice.
PS Plus, FIFA 22, Tribes of Midgar, Curse of the Dead Gods. Amazon Prime's got a bunch of stuff. Dead Space 2, Cursed Monkey Island, Shattered Tale of the Forgotten King, which is kind of new, isn't it? Isn't that the new League of Legends?
It kind of looks, honestly, it kind of looks like this King Arthur game that you're playing. It kind of looks like that Robin Hood game that came out on PS. Like there's this thing lately, I guess it's not lately, but there's like all of these dark guys like looking tattered.
Dark fantasy.
Yeah, exactly.
Dark.
So who can even keep it straight?
Anyway, Out of Line, Cat Quest, Mail Mole, plus Express Deliveries expansion, and Epic's Game Store is giving away Just Die Already Paradigm, and next week is Surviving Mars.
Nice, very good.
Which I think is a repeat.
That's I think it might be. Yeah, I think it might be. Actually, I think I played it specifically on Epic Games. So we got some
on Epic Games.
Yeah, we got some news this week and some kind of big, interesting things coming on. First of all, VR still not gone. Meta, that's Facebook, is planning on releasing reportedly 4 new VR headsets by 2024. And these could be a work case. So they've got one that's called Project Cambria, which is going to be a sort of a VR AR device. They figured that Microsoft couldn't do what was that thing they did? I'm trying the
HoloLens. I actually used that a couple of weeks ago at work. It was awesome.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Well, look forward to Project Cambria, I guess.
I won't.
There's also Project Funston, which is going to be coming out in 2024. And
the kids version.
Yeah, it does sound like the Fisher Price version of it. There are also going to be things that are like built-in sensors that follow the user's eyes and stuff, so they're doing eye tracking. So one of these at least, the Funston is actually going to be an updated version of the Cambria. Some of these are going to be like $800. So they are really trying for like the corporate level. This is not to goof off with. Theoretically, you're going to be doing work, but dudes are going to be playing like Beat Saber or something in the break room, in between meetings.
All the nerds from IT.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The same guys who were playing Doom on the school network. So anyway, that's coming up. More VR stuff, which means I actually have never got a Quest 2 for myself, and so now I'm like, well, maybe I'll wait for a Funston because that sounds like something adult.
Sounds like better.
Yeah. This is big news today. I didn't realize why everybody was talking about Square Enix until late in the day today, but apparently Square Enix has decided that they are selling off they've actually done this. They have sold off all of their Western studios. So that's going to be Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, and Square Enix Montreal, as well as their IPs, including Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Thief, and Legacy of Kain. This is about an 1,100-man transaction. So those are the employees of those studios. It's not a small transaction. And the interesting thing about this is that there are already Tomb Raider games. There's a new Tomb Raider game in development from Crystal Dynamics that's going to be using Unreal Engine 5. I think, Dale, you were reading somewhere that Deus Ex was going to be another.
Eidos has said today that their first or their next rather like full scale release is going to be within the Deus Ex universe.
Yeah. So I guess Square Enix is basically doubling down on like spiky hair and, I don't know, like
all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like really twisty, weird narratives. I mean, Kingdom Hearts 4 is still on its way. So I guess that's just the kind of company they want to be.
I almost got out Kingdom Hearts 3 the other day. I'm not gonna lie.
I have not played it or looked at it. I wouldn't be against trying it. I think we talked about this not that long ago. I actually think the mechanics of Kingdom Hearts are pretty good. It's just the
platforming sucks, but
yeah. But it's just like whenever somebody starts talking, I'm just like, ugh. It just drains my life force. I have, it's like walking across the open bled on Arrakis. Like I just feel my life just evaporating out of me. Interestingly, though, also recent news kind of surrounding Square Enix. This one is kind of weird. So I don't know if you guys remember Balan Wonderworld, which was
seeing that and thinking, what the heck were they thinking?
Yeah, you remember everybody just lambasting it when it came out, just sort of like a weird, like overly colorful and whimsical, almost Nights into Dreams looking kind of thing. I only know like one guy who even bothered to like it, but Yuji Naka was like I don't know anybody who thought Balan Wonderworld turned out well, but Yuji Naka, who is the I guess what's he most famous for? Like I think Sonic the Hedgehog, I think, and just being at Sega, doing something. He might have been involved. Was he involved in like Shenmue? I think he might have had something to do with Shenmue. I could be wrong about that. Anyway, he's been kind of like a top executive game designer and developer for a long time. Anyway, he has filed suit against Square Enix, saying that he was removed wrongly, I guess, as the director of Balan Wonderworld about half a year before its release in March of last year. He says that, and I have to admit, I'm having a little bit of trouble sort of like following exactly what he's kind of talking about here, but he says that there were sort of two things going on, one of which he was involved. He says that he didn't do this. He wasn't the decision maker, but some arranged piano performance of the game music from just, I guess, some YouTuber, some outside person was put into a promotional material instead of the original game track, which meant that the original writer became sort of a ghost writer for his own music in the promotional material. It was, so that's kind of weird. Like that's weird. And I don't know if you I don't know if you fire Yuji Naka for that. But then the other thing was that he says that he wanted to improve the game, telling the staff about delaying the demo. They were going to be releasing a demo without fixing bugs on it, and Yuji Naka did sort of a like yatta, kind of like a we can do it. And all of the staff said yes, we like that. But then, and all of their spirits were revived, he says. But then I guess the schedule was then impacted by that, and it was something about the producer was maybe not happy. So he says that he said a couple of things that are a little bit stark here. He says, first of all, that he's truly sorry to the customers who bought Balan Wonderworld in an unfinished state. And the other thing that he said, which is kind of interesting, is that he says that he doesn't think that Square Enix cares about games, which I don't know. It seems based on today's news that they care about some particular kinds of games, but maybe not some others. He says that I don't think Square Enix cares about games and game fans. According to court documents, I was removed for those two reasons, and so on and so forth. And he's not really pleased about it. I will say that this is not, and you guys can help me, and Dale in particular. These guys usually don't speak up in Japan. Like when they are. Usually when like the boss retires you or whatever. I mean, it probably depends also on how it was handled, but usually it's like it's a point of honor to follow the company line and to do what they recommend is best for everybody. And you just sort of step to it.
I wonder if the times are changing, or maybe this is just an exceptional person or an exceptional circumstance. I don't know.
It's tough to say, but this is not common for somebody, especially, which is kind of weird. And I don't know if this is really well advised. While court proceedings are ongoing, I guess, which I don't know if that's a smart thing to do, just sort of in general.
I wonder if he talked to a lawyer before he.
Maybe it was probably one of those defense lawyers.
Yeah,
just told him exactly what to do.
Should have called Ace Attorney or whatever.
That's right, and he should have got Legrand on his case. So that's basically it for everything that's in the big news. But guys, we still have some little tiny nuggets of game news with our news speed run. Start the music.
I'm going to start it out with the Final Fantasy news. Final Fantasy 16 producer Naoki Yoshida, he says that the game is really close to end of development, so please don't sell us.
Facts. Creative anti-cheat measures continue as Call of Duty Warzone and Vanguard make non-cheating players invisible. to cheaters.
I really like these. I like when they do stuff like this, like making their bullets like not really hurt that much or whatever. Unfortunately, traditional courtroom-based anti-cheat countermeasures are not working for Bungie, who claim that Destiny 2 hackers are selling cheats to their game. And the court said that they did not see how this constituted a copyright infringement of Bungie's material. So I think Bungie just needs to start getting more creative with their countermeasures.
Yep.
Well,
make all of the cheats NFTs.
Yeah.
There's apparently going to be a mobile game version of Warcraft announced tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's a mobile game in the Warcraft universe.
Yeah.
So is it like Bejeweled with Thrall?
Probably. Wouldn't that be funny if it's something like that?
It's a AFK clicker.
Yeah.
What if it's a puzzle quest like?
That would be cool, actually. But you know what? I played Puzzle Quest 3 recently.
That would get Jeremy to play a Warcraft?
It was I used to love Warcraft. I don't know. But Puzzle Quest 3, like I played it and it's fine, but it didn't stick with me. I think its time may have come and gone.
Well, yeah, it's time to be reinvented and rebooted.
Maybe this could be it. Who knows?
Yeah. Let's see. Sony is hiring for a corporate development role to, quote, find growth opportunities through acquisitions.
Ooh, the buying frenzy.
For some reason, I thought it was Square Enix, and they,
maybe that's it. Maybe Square Enix is shedding some extra stuff, and Sony's like, "Hey, we'll buy you, but you need to lighten the load by about 1,100 people."
Well, I bet that Jeremy, like
I don't know,
tinfoil hat, like that.
That's
not out of the realm of possibility.
Speaking of growth opportunities, Coke has found one in the gamer world with their new Pixel flavor that is now on sale.
It's on sale today. I actually tried the outer space flavor, and you know what it tastes like? It tastes like a whisper of vanilla, and then just like sparkling water after that, and then the dense and like gnawing emptiness of space.
Right.
I will say, I think that it is extra fizzy, and partly because I think of Star Sparkles. I think they might have done that on purpose. I don't know.
And I are Star Sparkles.
Yeah. Xbox Game Pass icons have appeared on store listings on Microsoft for Battlefield 2042 and FIFA 22, even though they have not been announced yet to be on Game Pass.
Oh.
But at least you won't have to pay any money for Battlefield 2042.
Nobody is playing Battlefield 20. More people are playing Battlefield 5 than Battlefield 2042.
Remember when we discovered that they couldn't get 1,000 concurrent players on Battlefield 2042?
Yeah.
Good
See,
times.
the cool thing though is that I can play this hopefully streaming without having to do any of that. So I'll be having the ideal Battlefield 2042 experience, which means my like look won't work. I'll just be like looking up and spinning around in circles like Legrand.
Well, sad to say that Razer co-founder Robert Razor Guy Krakoff is dead at 81 years old.
I can't believe he's 81. Like, would you think that the guy who co-founded Razer would be like...
It'd be like some 29-year-old.
Yeah, like some young tech bro or something like that.
Co-founded with his billions of dollars. Like, that's...
Oh, is he more of an executive producer, you think?
He's probably the
Razor
money.
Guy. I mean, he's called Razor Guy.
Maybe he bought that username off some kid.
It's an NFT.
Listen, an 80-year-old person would have been 40 when, Atari was around, and so
yeah, that's probably true.
Maybe he was just like a hip technical guy. He was a programmer or something, and
yeah.
You think like he went to the same bars or whatever with like the people that founded Mad Cats and they had this like legendary rivalry, like
all the people at Pelican.
Yeah. Some of them went off to Mad Cats and some of them went off to Razer. And
it was like the like Sioux Falls, Indiana scene, like like the Seattle scene for grunge, except it's for video game.
Hey, listen, when the guy who designed my Rocket Fish Wavebird knockoff GameCube controller dies, I'll pour one out. Sorry, I guess is that insensitive?
Me too. I'll pour one out for that guy.
I'm pouring one out right now over this conversation.
Psychonauts 2 is Double Fine's best-selling and highest-rated game to date.
Good for them. I mean, especially being picked up by Microsoft and getting that cash infusion to put in all the bosses. That's a good game. It's my number 2, I think, favorite game last year. Number 2 game fighting.
Is Fig still a thing?
I don't know. Yeah. But that's a good point, because that means people who invested in this will be partaking of some of Double Fine's highest.
Made some profits.
Yeah. That's good. Well, the last item that we've got here is, what's old is new and new is old again, as Ubisoft's Skull and Bones pirate gameplay has finally leaked. Now that 20 years have gone by since it's announced, and pirates are probably cool again.
Yeah, the Skull and Bones are actually the guy who announced it on stage.
Listen though, like no joke. Listen to this. Today, my children were watching Pirates of the Caribbean, which is, it's got to be 20 years old by now, right? When did that movie come out? Something like that. And then I was actually spinning the vinyl for Sea of Thieves, which I just got, which comes with, on the label, it comes with like a little fold up pirate ship so that it spins around in circles as the record spins.
My friend referred to Assassin's Creed Black Flag the other day. Just kind of
this is official. Pirates are cool again. This is it. This is the perfect time for Skull and Bones.
Time to get in on it.
That's it. Folks, this is also the perfect time for the end of your Game Bytes Show podcast. Thank you for making it all the way to the end with us. If you have any thoughts or comments about the games that we've played, if there's something that you've played that you'd like to share with us, if there's any news that we didn't talk about or anything that just in general you want to tell us, find us on social media. You can find us collectively on Twitter at Game Bytes Show. You can also reach out to us individually. I am at Jeremy_Lamont.
You can find me at Legrand.
I am at Count Elmdor.
I'm at Red_I.
You can also find us at youtube.com/GameByteShow. Watch us live as it happens. We'll have approximately 50% video-ish, during the course of the thing. Who knows, whatever. And of course, you can find us also at GameByteShow.com, where you'll find the back catalog of all of our podcasts. You'll see a listing there. Yeah.
I think we skipped a show 2 weeks ago. There's a show that's not released yet.
A secret show that you can only find.
Unreleased, out of sequence show. We did a sequence break last week.
That's right. So which is almost as good as a limit break.
Does that mean there's going to be 2 shows released in the next?
Yeah, I think I'll try and I've got a few things in the pipeline, but I'll try and like squeeze it back in there. So there may be something coming out. But
and it all perfectly ties in with our night's leg break.
It sure does. And then, of course, come back in a week and we'll be doing this thing again live on youtube.com. We'll also post this on our syndicated feed. Share us around. If you like what we're doing, just, tell your friends, tell your family, inflict us on those around you. This we command. And, we can do it. We have the authority because we are the Game Bytes Show podcast. Folks, that'll do it for your Game Bytes Show podcast this time. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.